another quick little Super Bowl conversation to have is the fact that apparently the 49ers had no idea. Most of the 49er players had absolutely no idea about the overtime rules in the Super Bowl and the postseason. That to me is just, that's just so laughable. That is so laughable. These rules were set in place 2 years ago after the Bills versus Chiefs debacle. That was Josh Allen never getting the football back in that insane playoff game where they just literally went back and forth within 45 minutes and scored 3 touchdowns and went to overtime. There were 2 touchdowns and a field goal and went to overtime. Like, it was ridiculous. It was insane. One of the best playoff games you'll ever see, and it ended in what many people say, an unfair ending, disappointing ending, because the Bills never got the chance to get the ball, given where that game went. In this instance, the 49ers players are claiming that they did not understand or did not know the rules as far as how this overtime in the Super Bowl will go. 2 periods, 15 minutes each, no timeouts. Both teams get to get at least a possession, regardless of what happens with the first team. And it can go all the way, those first 2 quarters, until basically there's a winner, really. And if same overtime rules as normal applies, you kick a field goal your first possession. If the other team scores a touchdown within the next period or 2, they win. If they don't, you win. It's as simple as that. There was nothing that was explained that was confusing. And I'm sorry, coming from an Eagles fan who got, in our eyes, in many people's eyes, stolen the opportunity to see Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles get the football back to try and at least tie the game to force an overtime of our own last year. I don't want to hear no excuses, because the way that we as Eagles fans during the offseason by teams, specifically the 49ers, criticized us, the players kept coming at us about, oh man, well, it's easy to beat a team without a quarterback. Like, I'm sorry, but recent history has proven how important the backup quarterback role is, coming from yours truly, whose Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 52 was a goddamn backup. It's not our fault that our James Bradbury, during one of the best seasons of his career, lightly tugged on a wide receiver, barely doing nothing, no impact whatsoever. And we got clowned, called frauds. We weren't supposed to be there. We weren't the better team. The Niners would have beaten the Chiefs. You've had 2 cracks at it, and you haven't done it. And they've both been in embarrassing fashion when you've had a double-point lead, 10-point lead in both affairs at some point. And you led most of this game. You were leading in overtime as the clock was ticking, and there was no sense of urgency. There was no sense of urgency whatsoever for you guys to make the one stop. And that's the difference right there. And with all the talent in the world, with all the playmaking ability that you guys have, you could not make one lone stop. I don't want to hear the excuses of you didn't know the rules. I don't want to hear anybody trying to combat me about how this game compares to last year and this, that, the other. No, I'm not hearing it. I have no sympathy. I do not care. You guys talked all that crap. Debo ran his mouth, and he showed us in the regular season, but when it matters most, like when we put you guys down in the championship game, you guys have not been able to win the big one. You are the glorified Dallas Cowboys of the West. And kudos to a few Eagles fans out there in the fan base that have said this, because you guys can make the championship games, the Super Bowls, but you still end up with what? 0 rings, just like the Dallas Cowboys. You can clown on us all you want, but we have a Super Bowl that is more worth whatever the hell you guys won 20, 30, 40 years ago, because it's more recent, it's more memorable, it's been more impactful. You guys have not been relevant when it comes to championships in so long. And you guys think you're so good that you haven't been able to win the big one for the past 3 times you've been there. And you've been to 7 championship games in 13 years. No rings to show for it. Let that sink in. and enjoy your offseason, 49ers fans.